One JuJu. I'm gonna give
hell
JuJu.
yeah.
I wanted to hear you say Juju.
Yeah,
So.
JuJu can play, and she's gonna be the reason why the league goes to another level when she
Same, I
steps
agree.
in.
She reminds me of Maya Moore. She has that way to her game, that way about herself, the athleticism.
She's a little more nastier than Maya, though.
Yeah,
Maya was just fundamentally sound. JuJu got that street game in her shit.
Yeah, she's
So,
unbelievable. She's one of the best women's
yeah.
players I've ever seen. My eyes have ever
And
seen.
you know what? This is the thing about that. The injury she sustained, although it was so damaging, and it looks like I've seen her walking around, she's come back. Those type of things raise your game to another level because now she had to work hard to get back, and now she understands. So she's gonna be a different player next year.
You know that all too well.
Couldn't agree more.
And she's a women of Troy.
Yeah,
That's right.
she is a woman of choice.
I mean, I went to University of Arizona, but I could be a USC fan because of her. I love watching her play.
Well, you should be a USC fan because Coop coached me at USC.
And you went to USC. So
Only
I should be
player
a
I
USC
know
fan.
from Arizona, Dia Barnes.
Dia Barnes, yeah.
And she was a good player.
Yeah, we had a really
she's a
good
great
women's
coach.
team when I was in college.
Is she at Arizona?
She's at Arizona.
Yeah.
She had
I
a
love it,
very
Dia. She was a good
successful
player.
career.
Yeah, very. And she was a good player for Seattle when we were trying to win a championship. That solid, fundamentally sound player.
Yeah, she's good.
So you talked a little bit, Coop, just about, you've always been an advocate for the women's game, and that sounded like it started in the early 90s, like right after your NBA career ended. For you, like, why is it so important for you to continue to be so ingrained in the women's game?
Because my daughter, and I have a daughter who used to play basketball. But it goes back further than that. My grandmother had 10 kids. She had 6 daughters. My mom used to play. And the things that you learn and experience from sports that can take you into other aspects of your life. Sports, my daughter was kind of thin like me, loved the game of basketball, wasn't a great player, but she learned how to have a lot of confidence. She learned about strength. She learned about working as a unit. She learned about the mental aspect of life itself through basketball. And it was so unfortunate that when she left here, she went and played her high school career in New Mexico. Had a man coach who didn't believe in her and thought she should have been better. But you know what? She said, Dad, I'm not going to let him break me. And that was the thing that almost made me cry and got happy about, because you know what? It's about being strong. And sports built that inner strength in her. And now she has taken that, and she's a therapist now at a prison.
Okay. In prison?
In prison. She goes and talks to guys on death row, and she works with them.
Wow, that's
This is in Alabama.
I
Now
remember
she
this
moved
now
to
that you
Philadelphia.
say it.
Simone,
Yeah.
she used to come. So, you know what? All of that wouldn't be possible if it hadn't been for sports. And I think that was the one thing. And I'd like to hear, Jackie, your little explanation on it, too, about what sports have taught you, especially through your injury,
Right.
knowing that you could lose basketball and had to do other things in life.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the athlete mindset all the time on this podcast, and I think what basketball prepared me for was exactly what you said. Learning how to work within a team to come to a common goal, being able to be adaptable, being able to lead, all of these things. And then for me specifically with my injury, I obviously tore my ACL a ton of times, as you know, and I think for me that level of a mindset that you have to overcome that injury is really hard. I talk to Candace Parker about this all the time. It's just you got to be a little bit different and have a little crazy in you to keep, trying to come back and play. But I think that taught me so much strength and resilience, and that I was able to carry that with me for my whole life. And I think everything that I do is built on, overcoming adversity and being strong and fighting through it. But also, like, I learned along the way that I had to listen to, like, my inner demons too, because I think as an athlete, we're always told to be strong and fight through it. And a lot of the times I needed someone like Simone to talk to, that I didn't really have that resource back in the day, or wasn't really talked about as much as I needed it to be. So I think now when people come to me and they ask me about that, my advice is always to, find someone that you can talk to and really, like, dive into how you're feeling, because you don't always want to just have to, like, be strong and get through it and fight through it. You want to have those people that you can lean on.
The one thing that I really listened to, Tom Hanks in the the baseball thing. He said, "There's no crying in baseball."
Oh yeah, there's no crying in baseball.
I
A league of
love
their
the
own.
fact that you have to cry, because crying is part of an emotion that sometimes can hinder you if you cry and let it out, that kind of, and that's the one thing my daughter told me. She said, Dad, you know what? The one thing I appreciate about you is that you would have tears for me, because of things that was going on. But she said, Dad, you know what? You always used to tell me hard work pays off. And it does.
Yeah.
It really does. What do you see in your little experience with sports?
Yeah, I mean, so the reason Jackie and I started this show is because we know girls drop out of sport at a much higher rate than boys do. And I've always loved sports. I played tons of organized sports, even though I was short. I'm very fast. I'm a runner now. I ran a marathon, having 2 babies. Right after having 2 babies, I have an athlete mindset, even though I didn't ever get to that elite level like you both did. And I have been able to use that in my career and my experience to be successful. And I still keep challenging myself from a performance perspective. And I want women, whether they are a Jackie or a Lauren, to feel like there is a place for them in sports, and for them to feel like they're seeing the spectrum of women, whether they were Angel Reese wearing 6-inch heels, strutting at the Met Gala, to Caitlin Clark. There is a spectrum of women. And now with social media and just the expansion of the league and all the opportunities, like, more girls are going to see themselves in these women, on the court and off the court. And I think that is our key to success of keeping more girls in sports.
What about your kids? You have girls?
I do. I have a girl and I have a boy. So I want my boy to feel all the feels, to see us cry. I also want my daughter to see those things. And so, for me, it's like, is Haley going to be an athlete? I don't know. Yes, I'd love her to be. She started crying when I told her I was getting her into soccer, but, here we are. But I think,
not a great sign.
Not a great
it's okay.
sign. But I do think sport makes you so resilient to all the things you talked about. And so, for me, that's my experience. And I love sitting here getting to watch you two relive this journey of sport together, because I never got to live it from this side. So it's really, really special and truly an honor to hear this from you both together.
You. Yeah. And you know what you mentioned about Angel Reese on 6-inch heels? If I was a coach, I'd be grimacing. Oh my gosh, she's gonna twist her ankle.
No,
but like the tunnel walks, the tunnel fits, this is a whole new part of women's basketball that is captivating a whole new marketplace. And I think, we talk a lot about the business of women's sports, and, if you go read the comments, everyone's like, the NBA has been, funding the WNBA for years. It's because of the NBA. And it's like, no, the women's game is finally bringing in the money it deserves to really grow this league into a more equitable place for women. And I think it comes with some of these new things like tunnel walks and new fits and seeing flage rap and storytelling. It's critical. That's how we're going to get more women in.
And the thing about it is that young girls now can watch the WNBA, whereas before, and Lisa Leslie and I talked to Cynthia Cooper, when they were young, they had to watch men.
Yeah.
So it doesn't jade them in any kind of way, but now they can watch, these young ladies today can watch somebody like them.
Facts.
With long hair, brown, blonde, whatever, blue eyes. They can watch them. Skin color doesn't matter. They can watch somebody that looks like me, and I know that is me, and I can emulate them and go on to do great things like they're doing.
You can't be her if you can't see her. We always talk about that on the show.
I like that. Say that again.
Yeah, you can't be her if you can't see her.
There you go.
And I never grew up watching women's basketball. It was never on in my house. The NBA was on or baseball was on. I didn't know any of these women other than maybe Lisa Leslie when I was growing up. And now I'm like, holy shit, these girls are going to have access to so many women.
Yeah,
and not just in basketball, in other sports too. I think that's...
We talk about that all the time, and I never even thought about Lisa Leslie and these older players. They didn't have any women to look up to. I had the Monarchs. I was lucky enough. I had the WNBA that I could watch, but I had to physically be there. It wasn't ever going to be televised or anything.
But before we get off of this, it's like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And all those players had to go overseas to make their money, to Russia, to Italy, and that was one way. So when they're gone, there's nothing here. Now that doesn't happen because you have the WNBA here. So
yeah, and you have those leagues like Athletes Unlimited and Unrivaled and all that.